All right, so just now I was talking about water, fertilizer, and energy use. And I'd said I changed the order from the first slide to where it said proper crop. Oh, well, I forgot. Yeah, we did the pesticide thing in between. But now we're picking up where we had left off. And this is where we're coming back to the proper crop. Now, how on earth were we able to stay ahead of human population growth? Because it's logarithmic, it's increasing very rapidly, doubling on like a 40-year scale. And, so we in 40 years go from 3.5 billion to 7 billion in 40 years. That's amazing. So how have we done it? Well, it's been done in a variety of ways. I'd mentioned some of it in 2 videos ago. I talked about fertilizer, irrigation, and then the last video we had talked about pesticides. But the final point, the final requirement for agriculture is having the proper crop. And if you know anything at all about agriculture, maybe you plant tomatoes and you say, I don't like the big boy variety. I like this, whatever. I was trying to think of varieties of tomatoes, but there, you can get everything from little bitty ones to really giant ones. These are different varieties. Now, what happened is we've had something that we call the Green Revolution, and it all started with rice. Okay, so rice. If we look at sort of the original rice, agricultural rice crop from the 1940s and 50s, this would be an example of it. And you can see you have, it's a grain. It's like wheat or something, wheat or oats. It's a grain. And you notice that it was very tall. And so what happened is there were researchers, agriculture types, who were saying, oh, wow, we've got to come up with more food. And so what they realized is when you looked at the small, the plants maybe on average would be tall like this, but they said, well, look at these small ones. They've got more rice. They got more of the food part on them. And so they said, well, wonder if we take this small seeds from this small one, and there's a small one over there, and we cross these small varieties, and you end up producing a plant that puts more of its photosynthetic energy into seeds than it does into the other portions of the plant. And so even though it's capturing the same amount of energy, both of these plants, this one and this one, are capturing the same amount of photosynthetic energy. They're proportioning out. They're using the energy from the sunshine differently. And this modern rice plant is making more seeds. And so crossbreeding allowed us to come up with varieties of plants that put more of their energy into the parts that we eat. And this is what we call the Green Revolution. Now, fast forward to today, and what is the thing that we constantly hear about? GMOs, genetically modified organisms. It's the same, in a lot of ways, it's the same thing. They're saying they're just doing it genetically, doing genetic manipulations as opposed to selecting for plants. And so we have all of these researchers who are working, trying to come up with a way to feed the world. And in the modern approach, what you do, one of the things you can do is you can change the number of genes that are present there. In cows, one of the things they always talk about GMOs, there it's introducing more bovine growth hormone. It ends up in a milk cow. If you add more growth hormone to the cow, they'll produce more milk. And so there are ways to genetically modify the cow so that it produces more milk. So there's, in addition to this crossbreeding, which is the beginning of the Green Revolution, we've now reached a point where we are using genetically modified, making genetic modifications to the organism. And so from this Green Revolution, we say, so we start genetically modifying. And if you think about the example that I mentioned, a cow that has more cow growth hormone genes, that's really nothing different, right? Well, things have changed from that. And on the next video, let's see where we are. Yeah, on the next video, I'm going to talk about other ways that we're using genetic modifications, which kind of a whole different ball game, right? Okay, hang on. I'll be right back.